Good morning, viewers. You are watching Republic TV. My name is Priyanka Das and welcome to today's segment of Quick Morning, where we delve into the latest news from updates around the country and across the world to set the tone for your day. From tracking Bangladesh court to hear bail plea of jailed Hindu leader Chinmoy today to IMD issuing red alert in 5 Kerala districts ahead of Cyclone Fenjo. Stay tuned as Republic TV brings you the ground realities of these developments. But that's not all. We'll also be bringing you the latest updates from the realms of business, sports and entertainment in our jam-packed lineup for this morning. So let's kickstart today's mega news day here on Republic, as always with the nation first this quick morning. A court in Bangladesh is set to hear the bail hearing of jailed Hindu leader Chinmoy today. Das was arrested last week on the charges of seditions at Dhaka International Airport. He, along with 18 others, were accused of hoisting a saffron flag above the Bangladeshi national flag during a rally in Chattogram. The announcement of hearing date was delayed due to a lawyer's boycott and abstention. Earlier, he was denied bail plea. Subsequently, Bangladeshi authorities ordered to freeze the bank accounts of Das and 17 others for a 30-day period. His arrest sparked protests among his supporters across Bangladesh and India, with many Hindu groups demanding his immediate release. IMD has issued a red alert in 4 districts of Kerala for the next 24 hours. These areas are expected to receive extremely heavy rainfall. The government has announced holidays for schools and colleges for several districts in the state. Officials said that an NDRF team is on standby. There are 5 NDRF teams in Kerala. 2 have been deployed in Sabrimala, with 1 team each in Thrissur and Pathanamthitta districts. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan advised people who live in landslip-prone areas to be prepared to move out to safer areas. People in coastal belt are advised to remain alert due to the possibility of rough seas.
We have been very active. Yesterday we held a district disaster management authority meeting at 6 o'clock once we got the alerts, and today also at 3 o'clock we held a meeting at the district disaster management authority levels. So all the field staff are active. They are on the field. The district emergency operations center and the taluk emergency operations center are actively monitoring the situation, the ground situation. We are also closely monitoring the water levels in the rivers, and also we have 2 dams in Wayanad. One is Karapura Dam and the other one is the Banasura Sagar Dam. So both the reservoir water levels are continuously monitored.
In view of the unprecedented devastation caused by flooding in the aftermath of Cyclone Fenjo, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has written to Prime Minister Narendra Modi seeking assistance of Rs 2,000 crore. Cyclone Fenjo has left a trail of destruction in Puducherry and Tamil Nadu. Stalin mentioned that cyclone affected 1.5 crore people in 14 districts of Tamil Nadu and damaged 2.11 lakh hectares of farmland. Tamil Nadu CM also requested the deputation of central team to undertake a comprehensive assessment of damage. While Puducherry government has announced Rs 5,000 relief assistance to all the ration card holders. Meanwhile, Tamil Nadu BJP President Annamalai blamed Stalin government for mismanagement and criticized the government of misleading the public by claiming they did a good job.
It is not acceptable if the Tamil Nadu CM says that they have done good work. Chennai this year has received very little rain compared to about 120 mm of rain. Whereas if you look at Kadalur and other places, they have received substantial amount of rain. The question is preparedness, anticipating. A dam has been broken, water is coming out. Whether that kind of work has happened, whether they have cleaned the canals and desilting of canals so that more water can enter those canals, hasn't happened.
The India Alliance is set to hold a crucial meeting today at 10 a.m. to discuss its strategy for the upcoming winter session of Parliament. The meeting will be held at Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge's office. Floor leaders from India Alliance are expected to come together to chalk out a coordinated approach for the session, which will focus on key range of key legislative issues. The leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi, will also be present in this meeting. Massive traffic snarls caused inconvenience to commuters crossing the Delhi-Noida border as police set up multiple barricades and deployed heavy security in view of farmers' protest march towards the national capital. Farmers gathered at the Mahamaya flyover on the Dadri-Noida border and began their march to press demands for land allocation and increased compensation for their lands. Farmers from 20 districts of Uttar Pradesh, including Aligarh and Agra, took part in this march.
जो गौतम बुद्ध नगर में जिस किसान की भी जमीन गई है उस समय समस्त किसान को 10% विकसित प्लॉट और 64.7% मुआवजा जिनको नहीं दिया गया अब तक उनको एक किसान को चाहिए जिसकी जमीन गई है। नंबर 1। नंबर 2, 2013 का भूमि अधिग्रहण एक्ट है तो हमने बनवाया, गौतम बुद्ध नगर की सरजमी से बना, इन किसानों ने बनवाया, वो लागू नहीं हुआ है। एक भी किसान को 4 गुना मुआवजा नहीं मिला है, सर्किल रेट में बढ़ोतरी नहीं हुई है। हमने तमाम ये बातें इनके सामने रख दी हैं कि जब तक हमारा सर्किल रेट बढ़ोतरी करते हुए 4 गुना मुआवजा नहीं होगा तब तक हमारा आंदोलन इसी तरीका से आगे बढ़ता रहेगा।
The Supreme Court will hear petitions challenging the constitutional validity of Places of Worship Act 1991 tomorrow. A bench of Chief Justice of India, Sanjeev Khanna and Justice Sanjay Kumar will consider 6 petitions, including those by Vishwabhadra Pujari, Purohit Mahasangh, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, Ashwini Upadhyay and Jamiat Ulema-e-Hind. While some petitioners seek the Act's repeal, Jamiat Ulema-e-Hind supports it. The controversy intensified following a lower court's decision allowing a survey of the Shahi Jama Masjid in Sambhal, prompting the Jamaat to request an expedited hearing. The case, which has garnered significant attention, could have wide implications for the religious site disputes and India's legal landscape. The Akal Takht has ordered the removal of former Punjab Deputy CM Sukhbir Singh Badal as president of the Shiromani Akali Dal, as punishment for his actions against the Sikh community for which he had been held guilty. They have announced punishment for him, directing him to clean utensils and shoes at the Golden Temple in Amritsar as penance for the mistakes.
अकाल तख्त साहब से जो भी प्रोग्राम हुआ है वो आप सब ने देखा है और ये एक बहुत बड़ी बात है कि सिख कौम एक ऐसी संस्था है और अकाल तख्त साहब जहाँ पर कोई भी सिख कोई गलती करता है तो वो वहाँ उसको तलब किया जाता है और वहाँ आकर आप सच्चाई से उसको वो मानता है और जो सजा है उसको अपनी झोली में डालकर नतमस्तक होता है। तो ये आपके सामने ये सिखों के पास ही एक ऐसी संस्था है और ऐसी एक परंपरा है।
BSF successfully thwarted a Pakistani narco syndicate's attempt to smuggle drugs into India through the use of drones. They recovered 4 drones and 2 heroin consignments on the Punjab border. The operation highlighted the effectiveness of the BSF's technical countermeasures and the coordination between BSF and Punjab police. This operation was based on reliable intelligence from the BSF's intelligence wing, combined with efforts of BSF personnel and Punjab police, led to the interception of these illegal activities. The recovery of these drugs underscores the continuing efforts to counter the cross-border drug menace and maintain security along the Punjab border. Viewers, tracking the top business stories for the day, we bring you the latest updates from the world of India's economic landscape. From government's decision to update the base year for calculating the GDP to 2022-23 from 2011-12 to scrapping the windfall tax on petrol and crude oil. Stay tuned as we delve into the key highlights shaping the business world today. The government has decided to update the base year for calculating the gross domestic product or GDP to 2022-23 from an earlier 2011-12. An advisory committee on national account statistics has been formed to oversee this transition. The committee comprises representatives from RBI, Centre, the state government and the academia. They will be responsible to identify new data sources and refine methodologies for compiling national accounts. In an announcement by the Finance Ministry, windfall tax on aviation, turbine fuel and crude products and diesel has been scrapped. This will bring relief to the tightening margins of Indian oil majors, including Reliance Industries, ONGC, Bharat Petroleum, GAIL and others. Earlier this year, the government had slashed the windfall tax on domestically produced crude oil to zero. Tourists visiting the iconic Dal Lake in Srinagar will now have a more convenient way to explore serene beauty. Uber has launched its first water transport service in Kashmir, bringing the option to book shikaras through its mobile app. As part of the initiative, Uber has stated that the entire cost of the ride will be compensated to the shikara drivers without Uber taking a cut. This will create additional economic opportunities for the grassroots tourism workers in Jammu and Kashmir. Tourists can book each shikara ride for a period of 1 hour. One shikara can carry 4 passengers at a time. These rides will be booked for 12 hours prior and up to 15 days in advance. Also to note, the shikaras will be available at predetermined government rates at the Dal Lake. The RBI lifted restrictions that it had earlier announced on Navi Finserv Limited. Navi Finserv is a non-banking finance company. It is a RBI-registered NBFC in the middle layer category, and it offers personal and home loans. The company has made several reforms in its operations as well as regulatory norms, which is why the central bank has announced the upliftment of the said ban. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman stated that the cost of health and life insurance policies could decrease if the GST Council recommends reducing the GST rate on premiums. This would make insurance more affordable for policyholders. The GST Council proposed forming a group of ministers to examine issues related to GST on life and health insurance. The group of ministers' recommendations will play a key role in determining any reduction in rates. The All India Life Insurance Employees Federation, or the AINLIEF, has called for the complete removal of GST on insurance premiums. The group announced a nationwide campaign to advocate for this demand and oppose further increases in foreign direct investment, or FDI, in the insurance sector. Moving on to our international segment, where we're tracking the ground pulse of some of the biggest global headlines. Today, we delve into the significant developments from around the world, from rising violence in Syria to Volkswagen workers launching a 2-hour strike across Germany to emphasize their resistance to pay cuts. Stay tuned as we unravel the latest updates shaping the global landscape. President Joe Biden pardoned his son Hunter on Sunday night, sparing a possible prison sentence for federal felony gun and tax convictions, and reversing his past promises not to use the extraordinary powers of the presidency for the benefit of his family. The Democratic president had previously said he would not pardon his son or commute his sentence after convictions in the 2 cases in Delaware and California. The move comes weeks before Hunter Biden was set to receive his punishment after his trailed conviction in the gun case and guilty plea on tax charges, and less than 2 months before President-elect Trump is set to return to the White House. The president's pardon covers not just the gun and tax offenses against the younger Biden, but also any other offenses against the United States which he has committed or may have committed or taken part during the period from January 1st, 2014 through December 1st, 2024. In June, Biden categorically ruled out a pardon or commutation for his son, telling reporters as his son faced trial in the Delaware gun case.
With regard to the question regarding the family, I'm extremely proud of my son Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. If I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Protesters gathered outside the United Nations top court for calling climate justice as a landmark climate change case opened on Monday. The International Court of Justice took up the largest case in its history on Monday, hearing the plight of several small island nations helpless in combating the devastating impact of climate change that they feel endangers their very survival. The nations demand that major polluting countries to be held accountable. After years of lobbying by island nations who fear they could simply disappear under rising sea waters, the UN General Assembly asked the International Court of Justice last year for an opinion on the obligations of states in respect to climate change.
One of the questions, of the 2 questions that have been taken to court, includes historical responsibilities, and that includes reparations. There will be countries who will be putting forth their cases, especially in the Pacific, about historical responsibilities in terms of reparations and payments of countries that have actually caused the climate crisis in the developed world. And for us Pacific Islanders, we also need the finances that is required to adapt, mitigate, and also counter the losses and damages that we incur due to the climate crisis.
The president of the International Criminal Court on Monday criticized the US and Russia for interfering with its investigations and threatening its judges. The court, which started its annual meeting on Monday, is facing increased scrutiny and criticism in some quarters over arrest warrants issued to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Russian President Vladimir Putin. ICC President Tomoko Akane told the representatives of the top court's 124 member states in The Hague that it faced coercive measures, threats, pressure and acts of sabotage.
Particularly in the last 2 years, the court's activities have understandably attracted high political attention. The court has been subjected to attacks seeking to undermine its legitimacy and ability to administer justice and realize international law and fundamental rights by coercive measures, threats, pressure, and acts of sabotage.
Volkswagen workers launched rolling 2-hour strikes on Monday at 9 plants across Germany to emphasize their resistance to pay cuts and factory closures. The company says are necessary to cope with its slack European auto market. The work stoppages included the company's base plant at Wolfsburg, where workers rallied against a cost-cutting drive by the automaker's management, in which they faced the threat of the company's first plant closure in its home country. Volkswagen argues that it must lower costs in Germany to levels achieved by competitors and by Volkswagen plants in Eastern Europe and South America. Chief Employee Representative Daniela Cavallo has said employees should not shoulder the burden of the management failures to develop attractive products and come up with a cheaper entry-level electric vehicle. Displaced Palestinians in Gaza are barely able to secure enough bread for their families due to high flour prices and a UN agency decision to halt aid shipments through Gaza's main crossing following looting. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees said on Sunday it is halting aid deliveries through the main cargo crossing into the war-ravaged Gaza Strip because of the threat of armed gangs who have looted convoys. The UN agency's decision could worsen Gaza's humanitarian crisis as a second cold, rainy winter sets in, with hundreds of thousands of Palestinians in squalid tent camps and reliant on international aid. Syrian insurgents have marched into wide government-controlled areas in northern Syria, capturing large parts of the country's largest city and its international airport, as well as dozens of nearby villages and towns. The offensive by insurgents led by the Salafi jihadi group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, triggered the heaviest clashes in the country since March 2020. Ceasefire brokered by Turkey and Russia, who backed rival sides in the conflict, brought relative calm to northern Syria. The United Nations condemned the rising violence in Syria after insurgents launched a lighting offensive and captured almost all of the country's largest city, Aleppo. Speaking on behalf of the Secretary-General, UN spokesman Stefan Jurek said on Monday that the UN chief is alarmed by the recent escalation of violence and called for the immediate cessation of hostilities. He stressed that all parties must do their utmost to protect the civilians and civilian objects, including by allowing safe passage to civilians who are fleeing hostilities.
Their operations now across parts of Aleppo, Idlib and Hama remain largely suspended due to the obvious security concerns. Humanitarian workers are unable to access relief facilities, including warehouses. This has led to severe disruption in people's ability to access life-saving assistance. The United Nations remains committed to staying and delivering and is working to carry out assessments and expand humanitarian response efforts as soon as possible. Humanitarian activities in other areas not impacted by the current fighting are continuing.
Police in Georgia's capital again moved to disperse thousands of demonstrators on Monday after over 200 people were detained during 4 previous nights of protests against the government's decision to suspend negotiations to join the European Union. Police used water cannons and tear gas to drive protesters away from the parliament building where they have gathered each night since Thursday, when the ruling Georgian Dream Party declared its decision to put European Union accession talks on hold. Georgian dreams disputed victory in the country's October 26 parliamentary election, widely seen as a referendum on Georgia's aspirations to join the European Union, has sparked mass demonstrations and the opposition boycott of the parliament. The opposition and the country's pro-Western president have accused the governing party of rigging the vote with Moscow's help, something both the government and the Kremlin deny. Georgia's Interior Ministry on Monday said that 224 protesters were detained on administrative charges and 3 arrested on criminal charges. Secretary of State Antony Blinken welcomed a key Vietnamese diplomat to Washington for bilateral talks on Monday. Blinken met with Le Hoa Truong, the chairman of the External Relations Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam. Both men praised the comprehensive strategic partnership that has guided relations between both countries since it was signed in 2023. President Joe Biden visited Vietnam as part of a trip to Asia in September 2023. The State Department says that since then, the U.S. has played host to a number of high-level visits from Vietnam.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary of State. And it is my great pleasure to visit the State Department and to see you, Mr. Secretary of State. And I agree with you that we have made important progress in our relations.
All right, viewers, it's time to dive into the world of sports with our segment dedicated to all the action-packed highlights and exciting matchups. Today, we bring you the latest updates from the Under-19 Asia Cup. Stay tuned as we unravel the upcoming 2024 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Championship in New York. Keep listening to All the Buzz right here on our sports segment. Captain Rohit Sharma will either open or bat at number 3 in the Adelaide Test against Australia, reckoned former India off-spinner Harbhajan Singh, while ruling out the possibility of the senior star coming in at number 5 or 6. KL Rahul and Yashasvi Jaiswal added a record 201 runs for the opening stand during the second innings of the Perth Test, which the visitors won by 295 runs with plenty of time left in the match. R. Pragnananda, Arjun Erigaisi and R. Vaishali will be among 5 Indian participants in the upcoming 2024 FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Championship. The prestigious event will be held in New York City from December 26th to 31st as the tournament enters North America for the first time ever. Koneru Hampi and Dronawali Harika are the other Indian competitors in the tournament, which the FIDE claims is going to be the strongest edition ever with the world's best players in action. Mohammad Arman led from the front with an unbeaten century, while KP Kartikeya and opener Ayush Matre made 50s to hand India a comfortable 211-run victory over Minnows Japan in the Under-19 Asia Cup. Arman slammed an unbeaten 122 of just 118 balls. A no started with only 7 boundaries after India were invited to bat. Bangladesh have named the ODI squad for the upcoming series against the West Indies away from home. Mehdi Hassan Miraz is the new captain of the team, with the regular skipper Najmul Hassan Shanto ruled out due to injury. Shakib Al Hassan continues to miss out from the national side as he's not in mental state to play for the country. Australia received a big injury boost ahead of the second test match against India. Star all-rounder Mitchell Marsh declared himself fit for the second match of the Border Gavaskar Trophy 2024-25 in Adelaide starting on December 6th. Marsh felt discomfort while bowling in the second innings of the Perth Test and seemed doubtful to recover on time for the second game. He managed, added, and capped Tasmania all-rounder Bo Webster to their squad as a cover to Marsh, but the latter has now cleared himself for the pink ball test. Virat Kohli showed glimpses of returning to form with an unbeaten century in the first test match against Australia in Perth. Kohli equalled the great Sachin Tendulkar's record for most hundreds in Border Gavaskar Trophy history with his 9th century in the last match. With 4 more games to go, Kohli could surpass Sachin and become the first cricketer to reach 10 hundreds in the prestigious bilateral test series. 21-year-old Nitish Kumar Reddy has impressed Sunil Gavaskar. The former India captain on day 1 of the Perth Test had questioned Nitish Kumar Reddy's selection, asking if this youngster is ready for Test cricket. Sunil Gavaskar has now said that Yashasvi Jaiswal and Virat Kohli's centuries in the second innings of the Perth Test, which India won by 295 runs, were indeed terrific. However, the most impressive knock in the game was played by Nitish Reddy. Former England captain Michael Vaughan has slammed former Australia head coach Darren Lehmann, labelling his verdict that Joe Root is a level below Virat Kohli as nonsense. Lehmann, the former Australia batter, rated Kohli a notch above Root after India beat Australia in the first test at Perth because Root hasn't scored a single test century in Australia. Former South Africa Test cricketers Tami Solekile and Lonbabu Sotsove have been arrested over long-running match-fixing allegations and charged with corruption, leaving them facing the possibility of prison sentences if they are convicted. They were both previously given long bans from cricket along with other players. Solekile and Sotsove were arrested last month over a match-fixing scandal relating to a domestic tournament in South Africa in 2015. F1 team Alpine confirmed that French driver Esteban Ocon has released ahead of the final Grand Prix of the season and that Jack Doohan will make his debut in Abu Dhabi. The team said in a statement that the lineup change will allow Ocon to take part in the postseason test with his new team Haas. Alpine had announced in June that Ocon would leave at the end of the season after a troubled start to the year in the Formula One for him and the French-owned team. Tracking the buzz, it's time to delve into the world of entertainment. Today we bring you highlights from the American Museum of Natural History unveiling its annual origami holiday tree. This and more as we unravel all the latest updates from the entertainment industry this morning. The American Museum of Natural History in New York unveiled its annual origami holiday tree featuring over 1,000 hand-folded paper models. This year's theme, Jumping for Joy, celebrated the 2024 leap year with models of hopping animals like rabbits, frogs and kangaroos. The tradition began in the early 1970s when a museum entomologist created a small tree with origami insects. Expanded after approval from museum trustees, the tree grew to a 25-foot display filled with intricate designs.
In 1972, an entomologist from the museum, who also was part of our origami group in the village, made a little tree with origami insects. And the head of the trustees came by and said, "Gee, that's really nice. Would you like to do a big one?" And Al said, "Of course." And then we were presented with a 25-foot tree to fill up.
American band Maroon 5 is set to enthrall the Indian audience with their gig on December 3rd. On Monday night, the band members landed in Mumbai, led by Adam Levine. Maroon 5 will grace the stage at the Mahalakshmi Racecourse, delivering an unforgettable live experience. The band, known for their chart-topping hits and energetic performances, promises to electrify the heart of Mumbai with their music, which has resonated with fans across generations. In a shocking revelation that has left his fans and film industry in disbelief, actor Vikrant Massey has announced that he will retire from acting after 2025. The 37-year-old actor, known for his memorable roles in 12th Fail, The Sabarmati Report, shared the unexpected news to an emotional note on his Instagram account on Monday morning. Kannada cinema and television actress Shobita Shivanna was found dead at her apartment. As per the police, she allegedly committed suicide by hanging herself at her residence in Kondapur under the Gachibowli station area. A case has been registered. The exact reason behind her tragic death is not known yet, with authorities currently investigating the case. And that's a wrap for today's segment of Quick Morning. Don't go anywhere, viewers, as we'll be right back tracking the top headlines and biggest stories from across the globe only on Republic TV.